Hey everyone, welcome to another video. So in this time we are working on another comic page. So this is Quest page 3. Yes, I almost lost, no. Yes. Sometimes I don't know where I'm at my own comics because I have multiple going on at one time. I have like 13 and a lot of them are in different page numbers, so sometimes hard for me to remember what I'm doing. But this is a chicken scratch I started out with, like the planning and the chicken scratch, and we're gonna fix this right up here. Trust me, it's gonna look a lot better here really soon. Just stay with me. Uh, so this one actually, fun fact, actually involves the first ever characters I have ever made. Originally, I wasn't going to do anything with them. I was just kind of moving on because I created Arlathea, which is like essentially my main one pretty much. But I decided to just bring them back because I was like, yeah, why not? Like, they're here, they're part of it, you know. Essentially, they started my character creation, which technically, was it Sonic who did? I mean, I think he was second. The first time was me just looking up drawings, I think, on Google and stuff, and then I saw people with their own characters, so I started, so then I created Cole, she's our main dragon character. She's also green, obviously. And then I have Spurt, who's our horse, because at that time I loved horses when I was younger, when I first started drawing all these guys, so I have a dragon and horse combo, pretty much. It's just these characters started out as like actual like looking regular like dragon and horse, and then I've just now turned them into what I do now to kind of keep it consistent through everything. But in this page, the first two pages, it was kind of just like Spurt taking a shower and then Cole jumping out of the bushes, you know, kind of like attacking him essentially. And then he's yelling at her as she flies him up to where they're going to stay the night pretty much. So, because they live like off the terrain, like I guess they're nomads, is what they are, because they don't know who their family is. Like, they were pretty much abandoned as babies and like that kind of thing. So they've been wandering around doing things and like helping people and whatnot. But since Cole's a dragon, everyone's like really wary of dragons, because especially because she's a spinal quill, and spinal quills are very large and they're very aggressive. So a lot of people have very negative opinion on dragons just because dragons are unpredictable and all that stuff, and they're territorial and such. So that, but they still travel. And Spurt is a very flirty character, and Cole is kind of a little more reserved, a little more mature. She's the younger of the two, though. Spurt's the older one. So that's a little about them. But yeah, so this is just them going into the cave for the night and just kind of talking about their plans of what they're going to be end up doing tomorrow. Is what this goes on to. So fun times. And yeah, that's kind of where I ended off right now for this page. Like, that's the problem with starting all these off, is that I know with so many of them what I want to do with them. It's so bad, but it's like I can only go so fast and work on them so much because it's like, you know, I have other things I have to take care of. So it's just kind of like it's just a game of trying to balance it all and figure out how to do everything. So because there's some pages I'm like I want to keep going on, but I'm like I gotta stop to work on other comic pages to kind of keep that story going, like all this stuff. It's just a bunch of back and forth. But this one, I mean, this page, I guess it was probably a little more time consuming because when I do my dragons, they're relatively detailed, especially because Cole is 4 colors and everybody else, like all the other characters except for the green ones, are 3 colors. My greens are 4 colors, besides JoJo, but he's a different kind of character. JoJo's a little dragon, which we'll eventually actually meet in this one, just not right now. He's not here. But he's the elements, but he's only got 3 colors himself. Anyway, so I would say it just took me a little bit longer just because of Cole specifically, especially with how I do her scales and like the patterning that I put on my dragons, because they all share the same patterning. It's just a matter of like coloring it, but they're just so detailed sometimes that I'm like, ugh. It just takes me a while. Also, just because they're like anthros, it's just trying to make sure I'm not the best at drawing bodies yet. I'm still learning, like I'm not terrible at it, but there are some things I still kind of have difficulties with sometimes, which is fine. That's just the way that it works, you know? What you gonna do? That's how you learn. But coloring this was actually kind of interesting because it's nighttime, but obviously I don't want it pitch black because you can't see anything. But like the moon is out. It's just kind of hidden now. They're in a cave, but I'm like, I still need to have some light coming from somewhere. So I kind of made like the mouth of the cave a lot brighter, if you will. I guess it could also be like the moonlight's reflecting off of the foliage and the mountains that are there, almost kind of coming back into them. I do keep it dark. You'll see later. I did still keep it dark. So, and then it was also just like, okay, where's the shading at and all that stuff. So, I mean, I guess coloring it was slightly easier because I'm using less colors technically. Because I'm not using their normal base color. Because I normally use marker-wise, it's 3 colors. And I'm not using the base color here, so I was only down to 2 colors. Except for the black. Black is always 2 colors, which is a dark purple and black for the marker. Pencil, it goes to 3. Like everything else, but... Or no, 4 technically, because I have indigo blue. But then black's only 3 colors. I have a way of doing things. Let me just put it that way. So it wasn't that bad, I guess, but it's also just like I gotta have like either the backlighting or the side lighting, depending on which way they're facing. And also making sure that the cave is actually like dark towards the back. So it's just kind of a lot of playing around with things and like just trying to go back and forth with it to try and figure that part out. So it's kind of an adventure. I still figured it out in the end, but definitely a little adventure to kind of figure it out. So, but yeah, you can kind of see. I know that she looks very blue here. It's because of the marker I use for the dark green for the shading. I use a dark blue. Copic-wise, is it agate, I think is what the color is, and I think I have dark pine or something for the green. But I just use a dark blue because I'm like nothing. It's because the greens I have that I use for my characters are so dark that it's like I have to have a darker color that's not black. So then I picked blue because blue actually works really well, which is interesting. I mean, I guess not. I shouldn't say it's interesting because it kind of makes sense because blue is used to make green. But it just looks funny here because it's just this weird blue. She just looks blue. And I'm like, she's not blue. She's green. It's just funny with the way it looks. So now you can kind of see it in the areas. I've actually kind of darkened it. I'm going to darken it even further later when I do the digital portion. It's just right now I can only go so far with making it dark because I guess, yeah, I'm a little scared I'm going to ruin it doing certain lighting effects. So that's why I like doing the digital portion now is I can kind of do that and not have to worry about it. I just have to do just a little bit. And I love this one because Spurt looks so cute because he's like under her wing. That's how they sleep. Is because coals, they're cold-blooded animals, I believe dragons are, because I get, technically lizards. But she's like gives off a lot of body heat and like putting under the wing is just like nice and warm. So that's kind of how he sleeps, is he sleeps under her wing because the cold doesn't bother her that much. And that's just what he does. He just kind of crawls under and that's just their like little sleeping arrangement. But so the whole point of this is leading up to the next day. They're going to be going to a town where there's kind of like a little fair thing going on. But again, the dragons they're not necessarily welcome. It's just very odd seeing them there with others because the dragons tend to stay with dragons because it kind of makes sense for them. They're like the alpha species, but the Spinoquills are the alphas of the alphas, if that makes sense. But Cole is technically the alpha of them all because she's an elemental, which will be discussed later. But all my specific like green dragons, they're in charge of like everyone, which Arlith is the main green dragon. It's just Cole is a female version of him, pretty much. Fun fact, Cole actually appears in one other comic of mine. I'm not going to say which one, but she does appear. So, kind of fun. And, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like to reuse my characters in different ways in my comics, because I'm like, I've already made them up. I might as well just reuse them. Like, it just makes sense to me to kind of keep it going. So it's just kind of almost like multiverse stuff. Like, I personally do not like multiverse stuff. I really don't. But in a way, this is multiverse because I'm using the same characters over and over again in different stories and just using the same elements, which I just adjust to fit that story. So it's a lot of fun. So Cole here, she is the female version of Arlith, pretty much. Spurt, he appears in one other comic. He's actually a horse in another comic. His name is Black Ice. So he's pure black and he's got blue eyes, which that story is a little more like true to what actual animals are. It's not like where they're the 3 colors like how I normally do like the random colors. That's why he's actually got like the blue on him, is to kind of mimic Black Ice a little bit. But Spurt also represents Sliston or Sean, who were 2 other characters of mine that are kind of important. So this is where you can see I kind of did darken it up a bit. and then I added some highlights in there. But that's who Spurt represents, which technically Celestin and Sean are Kanan / Casey's best friend, which he is the main guy character, which and here he's represented as Zephyr, which we'll meet later. And then Mira, who is Sean's girlfriend and stuff, and other comics and like love interest, is Jewel, who is with Zephyr. So it's kind of complicated a little bit unless you like. Eventually, I think when I can do more, it'll make a little more sense. But they don't really match the colors of the other characters I have, because like all the characters share the same colors, just not here. But it's just a little bit different, but that's okay. Anyway, here's the end of this. This is what I came up with. You can kind of see what's a little bit lighter, darker. Anyway, I have a bunch of other comics. I have a bunch of other series, paintings, seasons, elements, dinosaurs, all kinds of things. Please feel free to check them out and stick around for more. And thank you for watching. Bye!